And I should say, it's also funny. So we shouldn't get bullied.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
We shouldn't get bullied. Who the f is bullying?
I shouldn't get bullied. I get bullied all the time. But I like getting bullied sometimes. It's like a thing. Sometimes it's good to get bullied, depending on the context.
You. So on the one hand, you have people who actually understand
How many
basic
hands
biology
did you
and
got?
basic sociology and are fighting for the rights of an oppressed, marginalized group and trans people. And the other hand, you got Rishi Sunak, the conservatives and so-called gender-critical people in the UK, bruv, and transphobes all over the world, who are trying to strip them of their rights, regularly dehumanize them, make fun of them on a daily basis because of their aesthetic presentation. But they're the ones, oh, we're being bullied because we're the ones who are aggressing on people doing nothing wrong. It's just cry bully bullshit. So unfortunately, the UK, bruv, is a country that exists. It's not a fictional place called the United Kingdom. You know, it's not like Magic Mountain or Universal Studios, you know, Disney World. It's not like that, even though it
Answer to your messages. Oh my god, you've got 200 messages. That is so frustrating. Read your messages. Read your messages. Don't ignore messages. I don't know what to say. I am now angry at Conure. How can you ignore people writing you? Maybe it's important. It's important. Read it right now. It's like an important DM. Unbelievable.
Sounds like it. Bongerland is actually real, and because all they want to do over there is austerity politics by cutting social safety net programs for the poor and unfortunate in society,
I don't know.
and they want to cut taxes.
Apparently, Scotland is not bad, so make of that what you will. Scotland is actually not that bad when it comes to UK.
For the wealthy and deregulate multinational corporations, just like the conservatives in the United States of America, the only real country in the world. Regardless, because they got no other policies than that, we're going after trans people again. Oh boy, we got Rishi Sunak over here talking about trans people because he doesn't want you to look at his other policies that don't.
Oh, I like it when people talk about me because I've got a big ego. I am very self-centered, so whenever attention is brought to me, I feel happy, I guess. We'll see. We'll see what's being said about me, and then I'll sort of, you know.
Actually help you at all, and only seem to happen to help the wealthy people, which you are not. You might want to wonder why that is. Let's see what he has to say. Content warning. We're entering Bongerland.
Bonerland.
Change this country, and that means life.
Holy, I haven't listened to this man talk in a while. He's a bit fruity. I'm not gonna lie. This guy's a bit fruity. He's kind of twink moding right now. Is this why he's going after trans people? Because he thinks it'll solidify his safety being a gay? Is that what it is, do you think? I mean, frankly, that's more understandable than what the fuck conservatives are usually up to in like a twisted sort of way. Not that it's good, but I can see it more. You know, how somebody's thought processes would make them think that way in a very misguided capacity. He's kind of fruity.
Well,
I don't know, man.
We are going to change this country.
And we are going to change this country. Okay. Kind of cunty.
And that means life
And that means life
Now
means
that
life.
shouldn't be a controversial position.
That shouldn't be a controversial position. What a fairy. Anyway, sorry. It's just shocking to me. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. You can't be sounding like this and then talking shit on queer people. It doesn't work like that.
I
mean, you can't sound gayer than me and be talking shit on gay people. There's like a disconnect there.
The vast majority of hard-working people agree with it. And it also shouldn't be controversial for parents to know what their children are being taught in school about relationships.
Yeah, and they are being taught in school. The parents know that. You could just ask. You could just ask to see the curriculum. You could do that. Now, obviously, when they talk about parents have a right to know what their kids are learning in school, like the reason why they say that is to talk.
It's because they don't want their kids to learn anything remotely about anything regarding like anything that's outside of the norm. Let me put it that way. They don't want children to learn anything outside of the usually Christian norm. That's the reality.
Talking about in the case of usually abusive households from homophobic or queerphobic parents, if a child understands that their parents are not the biggest fans of queer people, and they understand that their parents have a likelihood to, say, fly off the handle, not even just to the kids, but to each other, or about other things like road rage, for instance, if they understand that their parents are kind of loose cannons with their emotions,
Loose
and
cannons.
they're very immature in that way, or even if they are already being, verbally accosted, perhaps even, spanked, which is literally unproductive and counterproductive, leads to more violent people in the future, those kids becoming more violent in the
Spanking.
future, studies have shown. It's literally just...
This man is a disgrace to my people. Wait, you mean British people? Or what? By my people, do you mean British people?
Child abuse. It's not actually a method of discipline. These kids will understand that, hey, turns out,
When I was in first grade, I had this when a teacher would be mad at me, I used to have this impulse to cover myself from being hit. Make of that what you will. Break up the UK. Time for Wales and Scotland to be independent. True.
I've discovered that I might be not having crushes on girls in school. I'll be having crushes on the boys in my class. And I'm a boy. And my parents probably aren't going to like that. So they don't talk to their parents about it, obviously.
Date in secret. Date in secret. Date in secrecy. That's the way. That is the way. Have relations in secret.
And then in order to try to confide in people who won't beat the shit out of them or ground them or even like be rude and like verbally accost them for a part of their, being that they can't change, they end up talking to school counselors or their teachers. Because these are often actual adults that are more mature and are in a position where they have to be more mature with how they approach things, right?
And
so that's
then-
why they talk to the teachers.
And then the parents demand that the counselors disclose what's being talked about. That's the vicious circle of the vicious circling thing.
That because they, in this case, feel safer talking to the people that give them homework rather than the people that gave them life. That's an indictment on the parents, by the way. This is not an indictment on...
What a thing. That sounds so strange to hear. They trust more the people that give them homework rather than the people that gave them life. Technically speaking, the counselors don't really give you homework. They're specifically hired to talk to kids, so they don't really assign homework. But I get what's being said here.
The kids. This is not an indictment on the teachers. This is an indictment on the parents. If your child trusts their teacher, a person who theoretically they probably get annoyed with for the work that they give or the pop quizzes they give or the amount of homework they give, if they trust that person with that kind of information and confide in them sooner than they confide in you, you got to look inward. You got to figure out why that is, because I got to tell you, you are not doing well as a parent. But this is just a means to an end. It's a culture war talking point that has actual real-world ramifications for real people, but they don't care about that because they can use it to distract people with their shiny keys, and then they just go off to, cut taxes for the mega wealthy.
Oh, who's watching in the I was friends with a girl in primary school and I didn't even realize I could have a crush on girls until much later. The concept was alien to me. Well, you know, it happens. I didn't realize I had certain crushes until they hit me in the face. Literally.
In tax brackets that you will never reach, while squeezing the lower classes even more and providing them less social safety net programs with the tax revenues that we get, so that the wealthy can get more of those tax revenues, right? That's all it is. But that's what they say, like, oh, these people, they have a right to know what the children are being taught in school. It's like, yeah, and you already know that. You can ask school for the curriculum.
True.
So you should be knowing about what the fuck your kids are learning in school. That's your fault that you didn't know until somebody got you mad.
I've seen relationships in the media and people talking about going out with each other. Well, that's what it literally meant, going out in the schoolyard with each other. I mean, you know, you live and learn certain things. You live and learn.
About it online.
Should know when hospitals are talking about men or women. And we shouldn't get bullied.
What do
We
you
shouldn't
mean?
get bullied when hospitals are talking about women or men. What the fuck are you this, by the way, this is the same party, the Conservative Party that wants to defund the NHS. That wants to privatize the NHS.
Who's
the same
getting
party that has led
bullied?
to the NHS getting
Who's
worse and
bullying
worse
you?
over time.
Oh
But this
my
is what
God.
conservatives do, right? It's a brief tangent. They
Who's
get
your-
control of power,
bullying
often
you?
accidentally. They have to then
Accidentally.
govern, and whatever programs they don't like, they sabotage from within. You had this happen, I believe, in the Bush administration and the Trump administrations, when they appoint people to, say, the EPA, and have them essentially sabotage the
Belay.
EPA from within, and make it less powerful while they're in power, and also if an opposition party gets into power, it makes them
Indian.
less effective then too. Reason being for the EPA, for example, is because they want fossil fuel people, millionaires and billionaires, to make more money and not have as
Sorry
many regulations in
for
place
yawning.
so that they can make more money. But like in hospitals, motherfuckers know if they're talking about men or women or not. Because unlike the average conservative, people in hospitals tend to understand basic biology and basic sociology. And they understand that men and women are constructs that we
It's
have.
okay. In kindergarten, I was already thinking that if I sleep with someone in the same bed, then we're basically in a relationship. And I thought of marrying the person. So that's how I operated in kindergarten.
Created in society, and they understand that biological sex also exists and that is also pertinent to medical discussions. So what they do, and it's this crazy idea, they record both of those pieces of information. This might be shocking. You might think it's a lot of book work, but they record both of those pieces of information. Or on the one hand, you'll have the gender that you're assigned
Hello.
at birth, your biological sex, be it male.
Hello. Ne-chan. What brings you to this stream, Ne-chan? I send you the daki. Hello. We're doing some live streaming today.
Female, or whatever, and then they will also have the gender identity you identify as. For most people, it'll align with their biological sex, but for some, it won't. There are some people who are intersex as well. And the biological needs of trans people are different than the biological needs of cis people. If you're on HRT for long enough, for instance, or you have had gender-affirming surgeries as a trans person, your biology will end up reflecting more that of, you know, the gender identity you're trying to.
I mean, I'm not super long on. I think we're on the we're on the 8th month of my HRT right now, or something. I believe we're on month 8.
Identify as. So usually it's binary trans people, a trans woman. Her biology will often start to reflect more and more the biology of a cis woman, of a person whose biological sex is female. And because of that, the medical necessities
I'm a female. My hair is the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Even my mom, okay, I'm not gonna say even, but my mom today said, "Oh, your hair is really getting nice." I'm gonna. Your hair is getting nice, my mom said. And I asked, "In what way is it getting nice?" And my mom said, "It's his hair." I've been here before. I just saw you were live. I thought I could come say hi. I'm listening to you on the background while playing FF14. Ah, thank you so much. I'm the. You might remember me as the biggest Polish trans streamer. Went off the
that
rails.
person will have are going to change. You cannot give that person the same level of health or the same kind of healthcare as you would assist
Like Lucy, who graduated from VTuber to LiveTuber. That's true. I have graduated.
man because they are not a cis man. Their biology has changed.
And
So
that's
because
made
people in
me-
hospitals, and maybe in the NHS they don't anymore, because they've been so thoroughly defunded by people like Rishi fucking Sunak, because they've been defunded so
True.
much, maybe they don't understand basic biology anymore, but they used to, and they understand how this shit works. But it's literally just a means to distract the average person who doesn't think a lot about gender identity, biological sex,
think
you know,
a lot
and these
about
biological and
everything,
sociological
nonstop.
concepts. That's all that it is.
To my
It's just fear
detriment.
mongering to gain power.
I think about everything.
And in this case, it's because they got nothing else.
I also overanalyze everything all the time, which is also to my detriment. You could still use your VTube avatar. I could from time to time. Oh my gosh. I spend hours upon hours analyzing and overanalyzing the smallest interactions, the little thing that people say offhand. And yes, and then I obsess over it and cry and can't sleep all night or something. That's my life now. Obsessing over little things that people say and crying. Do you remember Lucy before the VTuber? Do you remember Lucy that did not have a VTuber and did not speak? Do you remember that Lucy that communicated with the chat by typing in the chat while streaming? That's how I started the stream. I didn't have an avatar. I did not speak. There was nothing. There was nothing but me typing into the chat to communicate with the chat. Those were the days. Those were the days when I would play a game, Valkyria Chronicles, and only one person would tune into the stream. And watch me play the game. And I would joke that it's like playing a game with a friend, because there would be just this one person watching me play the game and commenting from time to time. Nobody here is from those OG times when I didn't speak or have a VTube. Nobody was here when I was like typing in the chat to communicate. Same, replying every argument in the shower and coming up with banger retorts. No, 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 that's not what I do. What I do is I take the smallest offhand comment that someone makes, and then I analyze it and come to the conclusion, and that's why this person hates me. That's basically what I do, and then I cry. That's my process. That is my process of analysis of other people's behavior lately. Gonna go shower and watch Twilight Zone with my girlfriend until she falls asleep. See ya. See ya. Oh.
And I should say, it's also funny. So we shouldn't get bullied.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
We shouldn't get bullied.
Bullied. Yes.
Who the fuck is bullying you?
True.
So on the one hand, you have people who actually understand basic biology and basic...
I mean, you're bullying him right now, so... Sort of in a weird, twisted way, you're answering your own question. You're bullying him. In this very video, I'm bullying him by proxy by watching your video. So the answer to the question of who's bullying him, it's us. We are bullying him. Sort of.
Sociology, and are fighting for the rights of an oppressed, marginalized group and trans people. And on the other hand, you got people like Rishi Sunak who are trying to strip them of their rights, of their access to medical care, their access to being treated...
Have you considered not bullying him? Have you considered that as an option?
Decently in society, in day-to-day interaction. So on the one hand, you have people who are literally just trying to exist, who want the same access to medical care as everybody else and want to be treated like decent human beings. And on the other hand, you got Rishi Sunak.
Imagine being treated like a decent human being. Could not be me. Could not be me. Couldn't be me.
The conservatives and so-called gender-critical people in the UK, bruv, and transphobes all...
How do you actually raid into people on Twitch? I have no idea. How do you actually raid? I want to raid, but I don't know how. How do you raid? You don't right-click. I want to check how to raid people. Wait. I'm gonna Google it on my phone. Because I have no clue how to raid people on Twitch anymore. How to raid people on Twitch. You want me to raid Aristocracy when this is over? With free viewers? Visit stream manager via the Twitch app. Type raid channel name in the chat box and tap the arrow. Where is that? Where is... Oh, wait. Maybe I have to be on the admin? No, that's not... That's the wrong page. Oh my god. Wrong page, with wrong chat. Mute. But I've never done it like that before. I've never done it like that. I've done it other way. Oh my god, not this. Where's the... How do you... Get excited? I cannot get excited because I don't know how to raid. Got it. How do I raid? I don't want to try it. I want to raid. Wait, how so many people raided me? Wait, how many followers have I got now on Twitch? What the hell do I... Raid channel. Here you go. Okay. There you go. I've learned how to raid. I've learned how to raid. There you go. We're gonna raid someone when we finish. You want me to raid aristocracy? Sorry, 1/. It's okay, I've learned. Even though there's nobody in the Twitch chat. Which is sad.
All over the world who are trying to strip them of their rights, regularly dehumanize them, make fun of them on a daily basis because of their aesthetic presentation. But they're the ones, oh, we're being bullied because we're the ones who are aggressing on people doing nothing wrong. It's just cry bully bullshit. And it's very obvious if you think about it for there's a couple seconds, and that's why they talk about it in this way, to stop people from thinking about it for those 2 seconds.
And we shouldn't get bullied into believing that people can be any sex they want to be. They can't. A man...
Well, for one, they can, but for two, usually
Listen, I can have any sex that I want. Wait. That's not exactly what I was being said here. That's not exactly what was being said here. That is true. I can have any sex that I want. Let's move on.
talking about gender identity, not biological sex. I know these things are confusing for people, but yeah, that's that. But also, if you're on HRT long enough, and if you get gender affirming surgeries, your biology actually changes, and then your medical needs change as well.
My biology
and how you will interact with other people, especially in a romantic or sexual context, will also change.
Wait, what?
So
Sorry?
it's kind of important to understand the distinction.
Sorry?
If especially in a romantic or sexual actually changes, and then your medical needs change as well, and how you will interact with other people, especially in a romantic or sexual context.
Oh my God, that's so true. That's so true. I'm not gonna get into it.
Will also change. So it's kind of important to understand the distinction if you want to live in reality, anyway.
I do want to live in. I do want to live in reality.
Man is a man and a woman is a woman. That's just common sense.
That's just common sense. You really, as soon as you hear somebody be like, oh, it's just common sense.
I mean, I've never been commonsensical, so whatever. I've always been super nonsensical. It's just me. It's just how I live my life. I have to say, HRT has changed a lot for me when it comes to a lot of things. But that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
It's just common sense, love. Mum's life, it's just fucking common sense.
True.
Immediately discard their opinion. Common sense is not an argument. That's a feeling.
We should also never be afraid to talk about the thing that matters.
Also, the uncommon sense is crying alone in the corner, neglected as usual. What about the uncommon sense? Why would we ignore that? I think it's an important factor. I think it's important to talk about the uncommon sense.
As most.
Don't you?
To most of us. Family.
Your mother's titties. Oh,
Whenever you want to talk...
Wait, what? What are you talking? Conure! Oh my God.
About family, someone whispers, is that wise, Prime Minister?
Yes.
You'll be accused of promoting a one-size-fits-all view. But in this Conservative Party, the party that legislated for same-sex marriage and is investing record amounts in childcare, we know that what matters is that love cascades down the generations.
What the fuck was that?
What does that mean? Wait, what is that trickle-down economics in love? What does that mean? I don't get it. Maybe I'm just slow, but I genuinely don't get it. I don't. Common sense is what fascists say.
That That love cascades down the generations. And it's love to restrict the civil rights and civil liberties of people. It's love. You know, this is our kindness to you. You know, we'll support literal torture in the form of conversion therapy. We'll support bullying people into fitting the worldview that you want that's contradictory to basic biology and sociology. We'll make laws that criminalize people for living their lives like everybody else, happening to use one loo or another. That's love. And it'll trickle down just like those economics will. One day. Trust.
Oh.
Put your faith in God about that one.
Trickle down
Sex is quite literally nothing but a collection of characteristics, most of which can be changed, altered, or nullified, and those that can't be changed by the endpoint are features that anyone of any sex can have. Doesn't matter if a trans woman has broad shoulders and narrow hips, there's cis women out there with the exact same bone structure. Yep. One day we will have the scientific capacity.
Can be changed by the endpoint. There are features that anyone of any sex can have.
To change our chromosomes. One day we will have the scientific capacity to change our gametes. And at that point, what argument are we going to have from conservatives? Oh, well, you might have so-called correct chromosomes, the so-called correct genitals, the so-called correct outward presence.
Will be wholesome? I'm just reading chat. I'm not being not wholesome. I'm just reading chat. Oh my god. I cannot read the chat even? What do you mean? I'm being wholesome. I just cannot. I just read chat. I read chat. Fake Alec Cal Parker. I read the chat. Okay? Yeah. I am the most wholesome of streamers, of course. Wait. I've been.
The so-called correct biology. But do you have the correct soul? I didn't think of that one.
Reading chat is for weaklings. Hello, Johan Roth. I say this as I read you in the chat. Are you from the... How did you find the stream? I wonder, are you from the Vouch raid, or are you a newcomer to the stream? And if you are a newcomer to the stream, then please consider joining the page. Or stuff. True streamers make up messages they read and chat. What?
Did you? Do you have the correct soul? The thing that we have no scientific evidence exists. And it's an unwinnable argument.
Listen, we're becoming really big. We have 1,070 subscribers, which reminds me, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. So we can grow to 2,000 as soon as possible. We can grow to 2K subs. I believe in us. How many subs have we got? It's still 1,070. Which means it has not dropped, which is also kind of a good thing.
That point. They've won because in order to support that argument, you have to buy into the delusions of souls existing, of God existing, of all.
And I like my delusions. I like my delusions that I can make my dreams come true. Okay, that was sad a bit. That was a bit sad. But, you know. That's on me. You can blame me on this for this one.
All these religions being true. Just the Christian one, though. Don't look at Hinduism, don't look at Buddhism, don't look at any other religion out there. The Greek pantheon.
Shinto.
All of those ones, they're fake. The one I happened to be born into and was groomed into from an early age as a kid against my will, that one's the correct one. And do not dare tell me it's not, because then I'll understand that I was kind of indoctrinated into this, and that's a scary thought for me. So I'm not going to do it. And people can say, like, oh, isn't that the case for you trans people as well? Aren't you indoctrinated into this from an early... No, actually. So many queer people out there have to find out about queer concepts later in life. And it's like a life...
That's why I'm not young, and I've only been on hormones for 8 months. Could have been so much prettier. But then again, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't complain. I'm pretty enough for some people.
Light bulb moment when they find out, holy shit, I'm fucking gay, brother. Oh my god, I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know you could do that without being made fun of. I didn't know you could do that without being the butt of a joke. I didn't know you could do that without being hate crimed. Motherfuckers do not know shit about queer people.
I mean, in many places, you still cannot do it without being hate crimed, so. Came from the raid last week. Watched a couple of live streams. Want to say, keep it up. You are awesome. Really? You think so, Dark Virus Zero? Thank you. Thank you. If you could give me any feedback, I am always open to feedback. What sort of streamer do you think Lucy Haze is in comparison to, I don't know, anyone else? Yes, I always welcome, and I always welcome feedbacks from the new viewers. Thank you.
And it's evidenced by the fact that you have people like Rishi fucking Sunak and all the people that support anti-trans and anti-queer politics. It's evident that they don't learn about queer people from being a kid, because if they did in school, they wouldn't be this hateful. They simply wouldn't. We already changed the functions of our DNA with HRT. See methylation patterns of DNA in trans people on HRT. We can already activate/deactivate the SRY gene externally. It's only a matter of time before we learn how to fuck with the gene internally.
Oh, damn.
People just they hate to see a biohacking monarch winning, frankly.
Politics.
And you hate to see it, you know?
I'm good on politics. Okay, we're gonna do a political topic next, just for you. Just because you said it, we're gonna do a political topic, historical political topic. The topic of the Golodomor. The Great Hunger in Ukraine. Because there's been a 1990 anniversary, 90th anniversary of the Golodomor. Which I'm pronouncing it the Ukrainian way. Because I've been spending my every waking hour learning Ukrainian, so I might as well pronounce words correctly, right? Golodomor. Because Golod is hunger and Holod is cold, actually. I've learned that from my learning. I learned it from a person that I actually I don't know, that I train with, right? How are you learning Ukrainian? Well, first of all, I do it through a couple of means, okay? I have a person from Kiev. Yes, I've also learned how to pronounce that. From a Kiev, from a Kiev citizen that helps me with pronunciation. So that means I that means that Kiev is actually the correct way to say the name of the city, just so you know. With that sort of soft V. Kiev. Kiev. I've practiced saying it a lot, so now I'm a pro at saying the word Kiev. Okay? I'm the Kiev pro.
They're just hating, I fear. Anyway, Rishi Sunak So I wanted to, jump from that to this Novara Media article that a lot of people seem to be sharing around. This was posted on the 4th of October, 2023, and it references a 2022 post on translucent.org.uk, women's single-sex spaces in hospitals, where they asked essentially a bunch of NHS foundations if they had ever had any complaints about trans people in single-sex spaces, and it turns out the results may shock you. Our findings after raising 102 Freedom of Information requests to NHS Foundation trusts. When anyone...
Perfect British accent. Perfect. 10 out of 10. See, what thing did your friend give spoilers to? The story. What happens? How about a rate of 1? Perfect. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you, Greater Ain't. You're the best. You're the best raider of the Lost Ark. But yes, the answer is to everything, to the story. The story.
When is referred to a hospital, they expect to be treated with respect, privacy, and decency.
Privacy.
Obviously, many women prefer female doctors, nurses, and facilities. As a trans woman, I get that. Indeed, I have always had a female GP, and invariably ask for female health practitioners. Most times, but not always, I get my wish. But what happens when the worst-case scenario occurs, and we become an inpatient in a hospital? Hospital wards have been weaponized by...
Hospital. I cannot believe he reads this. Hospital.
By some with a trans exclusion, become an inpatient in a hospital. Hospital ward.
Hospital. Okay, British people do read hospital. Okay, I don't think British people say hospital. I don't think so. But it is funny. Evo Morales gets bitten by a man and turns into a Spider-Man. There you go.
Wards have been weaponized by some with a trans-exclusionary agenda.
Exclusionary.
Often referred to as single-sex hospital wards.
Hospital.
Other alleged issues involve prisons, refuges, changing rooms, and even toilets now all becoming a matter of public discussion. In the UK, bruv, it's like a new species of human being has manifested itself into society.
Oh my
Sure
God.
enough, a moral panic has erupted from nowhere because it is now realized trans women exist. Of course, trans folk have existed for millennia and used hospitals, changing rooms, and toilets without a whimper, but suddenly trans women are a problem. Or are we? Not according to my investigation, we are not far from it. But before we get into the results of over 100 Freedom of Information requests made to NHS Foundation trusts, a short story. I'm not gonna read the short story.
Oh
that
my
impression
God.
is so breathy for me, I'm actually getting lightheaded.
Oh my God. Conure.
This is why, by the way, all this shit's popping off in the UK. Because having to keep up that kind of an accent naturally must take a lot out of you if it's making me lightheaded.
Oh my
Motherfuckers not having
God.
enough oxygen going to their brains.
Oh my God. Conure. I can do a perfect Chalogic impersonation.
On December
The French say hospital.
22nd, 2021, I made 10 Freedom of Information Act requests to NHS Foundation trusts across the country asking
Go back to the accent. That was better.
this question. Dear sirs, or madams, or non-binary individuals, I'm already canceling this person. Under the Freedom of Information Act, please could you supply the following information relevant to the period April the 1st, 2020 to
Conure doesn't have the beer. Got to keep it up.
March the 31st, 2021. 1. How many natal
Wait,
female
hold on.
inpatients-
I just said I had a perfect Chalogic impersonation. And you said Conure doesn't have a beer gut to keep it up. Are you implying I do? Are you implying that I do? Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Are you saying I do? But you can't keep it up either. Fair enough. Fair enough.
complained that a trans
Good
woman
answer.
patient was being cared for in the same ward.
Good answer.
The NHSAFTs contacted were St. George's University Hospitals NHS Foundation Trust, University Hospital Southampton, Birmingham Women's and Children's NHS Foundation Trust, Hull University Teaching, University Hospitals of Derby and Burton, University Hospitals
fast
Birmingham,
for me.
Manchester University, Royal Devon and Exeter, Nottingham, Liverpool. Most NHSFTs responded within 20 days. The
I
standard
want to hear that
statutory
again.
Liverpool University, Royal Devon and Exeter.
Why is that so funny to me? Why am I so juvenile? Why am I so juvenile?
Nottingham,
Why is it so funny? Oh my god.
Liverpool. Most NHS.
Brilliant.
SFTs responded within 20 days, the standard statutory requirement, confirming they had not a single complaint concerning a trans woman sharing a ward with a cis woman.
Oh no.
However, some of my colleagues felt I should contact more NHSFTs to make sure there were no
NFTs?
issues. So on the 28th of February
Wait. Did you say NFTs?
2022, I NHSFTs to make sure there were no.
You said NHS. I should have sworn I heard NFTs, but no. That was not. That's just me mishearing.
Issues. So on the 28th of February 2022, I emailed 50 NHSFTs, or Scottish/Irish
NFTs.
equivalent, asking 2 different questions and changing the time period. I asked, "Dear sirs, under the Freedom of Information Act, could you please supply the following information relevant to the period January the 1st, 2021 to December the 31st, 2021? 1. How many trans women were treated as inpatients in wards designated as, quote, women's wards? 2. How many natal female inpatients complained that a trans woman inpatient was being cared for in the same ward?" Again, I got a good response, though all of those who replied said they did not hold the information regarding Q1, that, as I experienced, they invariably treat to medical condition, not sex. In relation to question 2, as in the first wave of requests, no women complained about a trans woman in the ward. Not one. Shockingly, this is not actually a real issue. Also, when you talk about women's prisons, it's not a real issue. Turns out, trans women actually suffer insane amounts of harassment and abuse if they are put in men's prison because they're women. If your argument is a man, quote unquote, being in a women's prison is a risk to those women, well then putting a woman in a man's prison should also then put that woman in danger. But they don't see trans women as women, they see them as men, so they're blind to that because of their ideology. But that's what happens. We have more studies and more evidence to suggest that if you put a trans woman in a men's prison, they are subject to absurd amounts of abuse by the inmates and by the prison workers, the guards. In fact, cis women in women's prisons are subject to more abuse by male prison guards, not any inmates. But don't let reality get in the way of your delusions, conservatives. You know, you can keep the wool over your eyes.
Don't bully.
But the allegations about trans women in single-sex hospital wards don't go away, so on October the 25th, 2022, a further 42 FOIRs were made, changing the time period yet again and asking this question. Dear sirs, under the Freedom of Information Act, could you please supply the following information relevant to the period July the 1st, 2021 to June the 30th, 2022? Question, how many natal female patients complained that a trans woman inpatient was being cared for in the same ward? Those contacted were a whole bunch. Sadly, 4 NHSFTs did not reply, even though they were chased up in early December. Still, the results are apparent as 38 did, and the results were precisely the same as before. No complaints, none, zilch. My investigations cover a time period of 2 years and 3 months, and in total I made 102 FOIRs. No NHSFT has reported a woman complaining about a trans woman in her hospital ward from any of the FOIR requests I made. So, what's the problem? Rishi Sunak, what's the issue? Doesn't seem to me like there is one.
There is an
seem
issue.
to me like
The
there's
issue
anything
is
to give
that
a
there's a
fuck about
problem.
here. So what are you doing here, man? It seems to me that there actually, there might be an ulterior motive here. And it's not actually a care for women's rights. It's not actually about protecting women and children. It's about gaining power and putting through the agenda you want. That just so happens to further marginalize, oppress, and abuse queer people, but on the plus side, cuts taxes for the mega wealthy and deregulates multinational corporations, making the workers get paid less, work longer hours, in worse conditions, and if you vote for him, you're a mark. I don't know what else to say at this point. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm trying to make it fun and engaging and new.
True,
but none
same.
of this is. Transphobia is a very old bigotry. So, like, a lot of this is mostly feeling new because it's the new culture war.
Sure,
it's the
you're
new
bullying
thing to care
him,
about.
Conure.
If you're
That's
a
the
conservative and
problem.
you have nothing else going on in your life, or if the bad shit going on in your life, you don't want to actually think about, the actual root causes of those things, like having a bad paying job, having to work 80 hours a week to put food on the table. That stuff you don't want to think about because that makes you feel bad, so you might as well just get mad at trans people existing, and bada bing, bada boom, you've distracted yourself along with your Tic-Tacs and your Facebook posts. It's a whole lot of cope, and it's depressing. And this is not to say that, just because trans people are under attack here, that the other queers are safe. You're not. You never have been. Before the focus was on trans people, it was on gay people by the same exact people. They might pretend to be more okay with gays nowadays, and that's because they have to be. Otherwise, they get negative pushback, rightfully so, by the broader public who understands that gay people exist and it's not a problem. They've learned to understand that at this point. So going out against gay people forcefully in that way and not doing it through dog whistles gets you in trouble.
I believe.
Can't do that anymore. Can't just say the F slur anymore because of wokeness. So now you have to be more coded with it, and you have to attack trans people first as a stepping stone to getting to all queer people. Yes, including you, cisgender, heterosexual, homosexuals. I know what you are. It includes you too. Such is life.
Cis,
And the only
gender,
reason, the only
heterosexual,
silver lining I can give is the only reason these things are happening is because we're winning. It may not feel like it in this moment, and it won't happen without a lot of work from people on the ground, from people, pushing, messaging on the issue, trying to educate people. It won't happen without a lot of work. However, we are winning. Activists out there have been winning. And because of that, it is now something that conservatives have to grapple with. We won on gay rights, for the most part. It's not like set in stone, because obviously if trans people are successfully oppressed, they will use that oppression as precedent to then go after gay people and then go after women, though they often do these things simultaneously. Go after black and brown people. Go to the UK. They're not a big fan of Muslim people, Fuck I'm talking about? Oh yeah, it's because we're winning. And they finally have to talk about trans people because it's one of the few marginalized identities where it's okay to talk shit on them.
True.
You can't really talk shit on black and brown people as openly. They still do, but they have to be more coded with it. Motherfuckers used to just say the N-word in the halls of Congress in the past. But now they can't do that. So
now they have to attack me.
To find another way to do it. Talk about urban crime, talk about so-called gangs and thugs. Different ways to essentially say the word without actually saying it. And now they're having to do that with gay people. And they don't have to do that about trans people. They can be a lot more open about it. And, hopefully, if it is true that the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice, that shit don't bend on its own, you gotta push it, we will win in the long run, but there will be a fair amount of suffering in the meantime. So you gotta get out there, you gotta vote for the best option in the primary, the least bad option in the general. Obviously, Brit-Bonga elections are different than the US. The voting system is different there, is my understanding. It's a fake country.
Okay, so if you've enjoyed this thing that we finally finished and we were along the way doing Ukrainian and many other things, then please like, subscribe, hit the bell. And also, don't worry, I will edit everything out. I will cut it all out. So it will be